Alabama has always had a predictable, yet highly effective identity under head coach Nick Saban. This identity, or signature Nick Saban formula, has relied upon dominating ball control offensive drives combined with arguably the best defenses in the country consistently suffocating their opponents. Generally, these offenses haven't been very exciting to watch, but were based on run-first philosophy, and more importantly, they got the job done. These teams have been reliable, and were Nick Saban making the best use of the quarterbacks he's had, and moreover, controlling the outcome of football games with the absolute monster defenses he's always managed to create. Nick Saban is a defensive-minded coach. He always has been and always will be. In fact, most of his peers consider Nick Saban as the greatest defensive mind in all of college football. However, in this video, we're going to explore just how Alabama football has changed under Nick Saban and why. Nick Saban is unquestionably the greatest living head coach, and it's hard to argue that he isn't the greatest of all time. One major reason Saban has been able to achieve this distinction is his willingness to adapt as a head coach. The game of football has changed dramatically over the last 5 to 10 years, and although begrudgingly at times, Nick Saban has changed with it. The blueprint Nick Saban utilized to win his first championships at Alabama are not the same that he's used to win the most recent national championship against Georgia, and as I will explain in a moment, even that blueprint has radically changed again. In Nick Saban's now somewhat distant Alabama defensive past, he would recruit considerably larger players in order to handle the older, more physical Smashmouth style of football. However, the teams that tended to give Alabama the most trouble were those that played what Nick Saban often refers to as fastball. These are teams that generally play a spread offense, have a good quarterback who is usually mobile, and prefer to run a hurry-up, no-huddle style of offense. To combat these problematic teams, Nick Saban maintained his defensive system while completely changing the body type of the defensive linemen and linebackers he recruited. Now, in 2018, Alabama's defensive front seven consists of players that are about 20 to 30 pounds lighter and are more athletic than their predecessors. Fundamentally, this allows the entire Alabama defense to have the ability and luxury of playing 3 straight downs without tiring out and therefore not requiring substitution. Now, Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide field some of the fastest defenses in the game, and as such are not only properly prepared but tend to have an advantage over most of their opponents. Yet, the most noticeable changes, past and present, have been with the Alabama offense. Nick Saban used to run your prototypical Smashmouth pro-style offense. These offenses would rely heavily on the run game, while the quarterback passed the ball just enough to keep opposing defenses honest. Saban's offenses of the past would actually huddle up before snapping the ball, and one major goal was to focus on time of possession. These offenses would most certainly not utilize RPO, aka run pass options, as the quarterbacks were not exactly, well, great runners. The best example of such an offense is when Alabama utilized now NFL quarterback A.J. McCarron in the aforementioned pro-style offense to win the 2012 national championship. However, football has changed a lot since then, and with it, Alabama's offense. Basically, Nick Saban has again utilized recruiting in order to adapt by constructing an offense over time that looks and operates like the most successful opposing offenses he has ever faced while at Alabama. Nick Saban now has not one, but two dual-threat quarterbacks in Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts. Furthermore, Saban's modern offense operates out of the shotgun the majority of the time. Think about it. Do you ever see Tua or Jalen huddling with the offense? No, absolutely not. Nick Saban has chosen to allow his offensive coordinators to run a spread, no-huddle, RPO-driven, up-tempo offense. The results speak for themselves. The 2018 Alabama offense is ranked number 1 overall with an unbelievable 3,405 total yards, 568 average yards per game, resulting in a record-breaking 56 points per game on average after half of the regular season has already been played. The Alabama Crimson Tide have dominated the first half of their schedule, going 6-0 with their closest game being against the 22nd ranked Texas A&M Aggies for a 22-point margin of victory. Furthermore, Nick Saban and the Alabama football team have shown even more change in the 2018 season. Less than a year ago, Nick Saban was utilizing his elite defense to limit their opponent's ability to score, while also carrying a fairly anemic and inconsistent passing offense. Now, in the 2018 football season, Nick Saban is utilizing his historic #1 in the country quick strike offense to dramatically outscore and demoralize opponents, while this offense also is carrying a very young and inexperienced defense. This 2018 Alabama football team, and specifically offense, further solidifies Nick Saban as the greatest head coach of all time, as he has reversed the offensive and defensive roles when his team needed it the most. Somehow, Nick Saban was able to foreshadow and predict that this year's defense would need some significant help from the offense, and as such, this Alabama team as a whole is definitely head and shoulders above the best teams college football has to offer, and are only getting better on both sides of the ball with each passing week. By the end of the regular season, Alabama's talented defense will likely have evolved into a top 5 overall unit, while naturally the Alabama offense will remain atop the leaderboards as they enter the postseason on their journey to national championship number 18. This video has been a bit of a journey through Nick Saban's past and present Alabama dynasty, and just why these Alabama teams have been able to consistently dominate for well over a decade. I'm sure many of you guys remember all of Nick Saban's Alabama teams, and in general, how college football has rapidly changed over this period. With that in mind, go ahead and tell us in the comments, what are the biggest changes you've noticed, and what has been your favorite Alabama football team under Nick Saban? Guys, as always, thanks for watching, and until next time, take care and roll tide.